People mistake noise for power. They think the loudest man commands the room, the quickest man wins the moment. But a man who understands control, he knows better. Real power lives in the quiet spaces, between the words, beneath the breath, behind the eyes that never blink first. I've seen men destroy themselves trying to prove strength, while the man who speaks last wins without lifting a finger. Control isn't taken by force, it's taken by presence. And the world bends, not to the loud, not to the desperate, but to the man who refuses to raise his voice. Control doesn't begin with words, it begins with presence. Before a man speaks, before he lifts a hand, before he makes his intentions known. When you walk into a room, you don't announce yourself, you don't need to. Men who rely on noise have nothing else to offer. But a man who understands control carries a silence that bends the air around him. People feel it before they recognize it. They adjust their posture, their tone, the way they breathe, because something in your stillness unsettles them. A man who doesn't rush becomes unpredictable. A man who doesn't speak first becomes unreadable. A man who doesn't explain becomes powerful. You control the room by refusing to compete with the noise inside it. Look at how people behave. Most walk fast, speak fast, and react fast because they're terrified of the one thing they can't manage, the perception of others. Fear of judgment makes them fill silence with useless words. Fear of being ignored makes them talk louder. Fear of losing control makes them perform. You don't do any of that. You stand still. You breathe slow. You let their impatience expose them, and in that moment, the advantage becomes yours. Stillness is not the absence of movement. Stillness is the declaration that nothing here can shake you. When you look at someone, you don't stare to intimidate. You stare because you're measuring them. You're watching what twitches when they feel observed. You're watching what breaks first, their confidence or their mask. People reveal themselves the moment they realize they can't read your intentions. A single look from you tells them that their usual tricks, the ones they use on everyone else, won't work here. And that's when you take control without saying a word. Most men try to dominate with volume. They speak over others, interrupt conversations, fill the air with their opinions. They think noise equals influence. But influence is created in the mind of the observer, not in the mouth of the speaker. A quiet man carries more weight than a loud one because people assume silence hides strength. That assumption is your weapon. The man who speaks little is impossible to predict. He could be dangerous. He could be calculating. He could be thinking 5 steps ahead. And the ego of the other person cannot tolerate that uncertainty. Ego needs clarity. It needs to know where you stand. It needs to know what you think. When you give them nothing, they become anxious. And anxious men reveal everything. So you let them talk. You let them fill the silence. You let them underestimate you. Because every word they spill is information. Every story they tell is a window into their weaknesses. Every assumption they make becomes ammunition. And you keep your calm. You let them drown in their own noise. You wait. Control belongs to the man who chooses when to move, when to speak, and when to let silence suffocate the room. You don't overpower others. You make them overpower themselves. You don't force respect. You extract it from the space you occupy. You don't raise your voice. Not because you're soft, but because you don't need to. A room bends to the man who bends to no one. Power is never where people pretend it is. It's not in titles, loud voices, or the size of a man's following. It's not in how many people shout your name when you walk by. Real power, the kind that bends outcomes, shifts loyalty, and makes men fear disappointing you, lives in places most people never look. The first rule of power is simple. Never give the world your emotions. People trade their power the moment they react. Anger reveals insecurity. Fear reveals weakness. Excitement reveals vulnerability. Most men speak their entire soul without meaning to, because they can't resist the impulse to respond. You don't make that mistake. You guard your emotions like weapons, kept sharp, hidden, and only used with intention. The second rule, information is currency. You don't talk to be understood. You talk to understand. You speak less so people speak more. That's how you gather the truths most men conceal. The louder someone talks, the more they confess. The more they confess, the more they become predictable. And predictability makes them easy to control. Power belongs to the man who listens, not the man who performs. Third rule, never speak until you know more than everyone else in the room. People rush to answer questions because they fear silence. They fear appearing ignorant. You don't fear any of that. You let others reveal the first layer, then the second, then the third. And when you finally speak, every word cuts with precision because you're working with a full map while they're blindfolded. A man who speaks last speaks with authority. Fourth rule: predictability is weakness. Once people know what irritates you, they can provoke you. Once they know what pleases you, they can manipulate you. Once they know what scares you, they can corner you. Unpredictable men who shift strategy without warning, become impossible to control. Your silence is not just quiet, it's camouflage. Your calm is not politeness, it's misdirection. People can't attack what they can't define. Fifth rule: control is taken, not given. Nobody hands you respect. Nobody grants you authority. The world doesn't crown men like you. Men who rise from nothing fight for every inch. And control doesn't come from demanding it, it comes from embodying it. You control the room because your presence forces people to adjust. You control outcomes because you act like a man who already knows how things will end. People follow certainty, even if they don't understand it. Men who try to prove themselves push too hard, talk too fast, brag too loudly. But your tone, calm, slow, deliberate, creates questions. Why is he so confident? What does he know? What is he planning? You let their mind build its own intimidation. Fear, created from imagination, lasts longer than fear created from force. Seventh rule: never show your hand first. People want to read you. They want to categorize you. They want to predict your next move. You deny them all three. You keep your plans behind your eyes. You let your silence hang just long enough to shift the power dynamic. When someone asks for your opinion, you watch them instead of answering. When someone presses you for a reaction, you give them a blank expression instead of emotion. They fear the version of you they can't understand. Eighth rule: power is not about winning arguments, it's about positioning. You don't argue with fools. You don't explain yourself to fragile egos. You don't chase validation. You position yourself so strongly that people hesitate before challenging you. Calm confidence is not a personality trait, it's a strategy. You stay composed while they unravel. You stay steady while they search for footing. And eventually, they stop fighting you and start fighting themselves. Ninth rule: the man who controls himself ultimately controls the world around him. Power begins internally. If you can't manage your impulses, someone else will. If you can't control your reactions, they'll use them against you. Every battle is won in the space between your mind and your mouth. And you win because you never let emotion write your script. That's the truth no one dares admit. Power isn't loud. Power isn't aggressive. Power is controlled. And the control man rules everything. People think intelligence comes from knowing everything. It doesn't. Intelligence comes from knowing what other people reveal when they think you're not paying attention. And nothing makes a person reveal more than silence. Not violence, not threats, not interrogation. Silence. A quiet man makes insecure people expose themselves just to fill the air he refuses to give them. When you speak less, people mistake it for weakness. Let them. Their assumptions are gifts. Their confidence is ammunition. Because the truth is simple, people destroy themselves when they don't know what you're thinking. That uncertainty becomes a pressure they can't handle. They start talking to fill the space, and every word they spill gives you something to use later. You don't interrupt. You don't correct. You don't reveal your thoughts. You let them run their mouth until their ego takes them somewhere dangerous. And you watch. You listen. You collect. Observation is a skill most men waste. They think listening is passive, but listening is strategy. Listening is leverage. Listening is how you map the weaknesses of every man who steps into your orbit. A raised eyebrow, a nervous swallow, a change in their breathing, the shift in their tone. Every detail tells you who they are beneath the armor they pretend to wear. The loud ones reveal their insecurities without noticing. The proud ones reveal their fears when confronted by calm. The confident ones reveal their intentions in the way they choose each word. All you have to do is shut up and let them speak. A man who talks too much is a man who can be controlled. He's predictable. He wears his emotions on the surface. He explains what he wants, what he hates, what he needs, what he fears. And once you know those things, you hold the strings he doesn't know he's handing you. When you speak less, you learn more. When you learn more, you choose better. When you choose better, you control the game without announcing your moves. That's how you win before the other man even realizes a battle began. People call you mysterious because they can't read you. They call you calculating because you don't rush. They call you cold because you don't react the way they expect. But what they don't understand is that silence isn't the absence of emotion, it's the presence of discipline. You're not quiet because you have nothing to say. You're quiet because you don't waste words on people who won't matter 5 minutes from now. Let them assume, let them doubt, let them fill the silence with stories they invent. Their imagination becomes your shield and your advantage. They build theories about you. They project weaknesses onto you. They create narratives that never existed. And while they're busy guessing, you're busy calculating. Speaking less doesn't mean being invisible. It means being deliberate. Every word you use must be a blade. Clean, precise, impossible to ignore. When you finally speak, people listen because they've been waiting. Your silence builds pressure. Your words become release. That's why calm men dominate the conversation without forcing it. A man is never more powerful than when he looks another in the eye and chooses not to respond. That silence cuts deeper than any insult, because silence tells the other person this: you're not important enough to move me. You don't deserve access to my thoughts. You don't control the pace here. I do. That's what breaks their ego. Not your words, your restraint. Every time you listen longer than they expect, every time you pause before speaking, every time you breathe without rushing, you teach them exactly who holds the upper hand. Not the man who talks, the man who observes. Knowledge is the purest form of control. You gain it by letting others reveal themselves, and you reveal nothing. That is how you stay ahead. That is how you stay untouchable. That is how you become the man they fear without understanding why. Power isn't taken by force, it's taken by rhythm. And the man who owns the rhythm of a room owns every person standing in it. People don't realize how quickly they surrender control. They match your pace without thinking. They mirror your breathing. They shift their tone to fit yours. That's how influence works, not through noise, but through gravity. When you slow down, the world slows with you. When you remain calm, chaos loses direction. When you refuse to rush, others become unsettled by their own speed. A controlled man becomes a silent authority, and authority doesn't beg for attention. It pulls it. Most people are slaves to tempo. They speak fast because their mind is scattered. They move fast because their nerves betray them. They react fast because their emotions crack through their discipline. They live their entire lives at the mercy of impulses, which makes them easy to lead, easy to mislead, and easy to break. But you're different. You don't chase the pace of others. You force them to chase yours. You enter a room like a man who has already decided the outcome. Your movements are clean, exact, intentional. No wasted gestures, no frantic adjustments. No restless energy. Every step you take tells the room that you're operating on your own frequency. And people sense that. They feel the pressure of a man who doesn't need external validation to exist. Not arrogance, certainty. When you speak, you measure every word. You don't rush your sentences just because someone is staring at you. You let silence sit between thoughts like it belongs there. And the longer the silence stays, the more unstable the other person becomes. They start questioning themselves. They start overthinking. And they start adjusting. You don't adapt to them, they adapt to you. This is the core of influence. Make people fall into your tempo, and you make them fall under your control. People respect calm because they don't understand it. They fear it because they can't imitate it. Stillness is rare, and anything rare becomes powerful. A man who doesn't fidget, who doesn't panic, who doesn't allow noise to break his focus. They lean into your pace because their own is fragile. Watch closely. When you slow your breathing, they slow theirs. When you lower your voice, they lower theirs. When you take your time answering, they lean forward, waiting. When you look away, they look desperate to pull your attention back. You control them without raising a hand. Your presence becomes instruction. Your silence becomes command. And when conflict rises, your calm becomes their defeat. Because a man who cannot shake your stillness cannot win against you. He grows louder, more agitated, more emotional, while you remain carved from stone. That contrast destroys him. Others see it, he sees it. And the moment he realizes he's reacting while you're deciding, the battle ends. You win because you refuse to move first. Your presence is not just posture, it's pressure. Not aggression, gravity, not noise, authority. You stand your ground, and the room reorganizes around you. People measure their words. They control their manners. They rethink their arrogance. Not because you demanded respect, but because your presence makes disrespect feel dangerous. He becomes the center of it. So remember this: the moment they adjust their pace to match yours, the moment they wait for your reaction, the moment they speak softer because you're quiet, you've already taken control of the room. Most men don't fear the truth. They fear what they can't understand. And nothing unsettles the human mind more than a person it cannot read. Unreadability is not a trick. It's a weapon. It's the armor that protects your intentions, your weaknesses, and your next move. The world can't attack a man when they don't know where to strike. People need patterns. They rely on them. They survive on predictability. When they can guess your reaction, they feel safe. When they know your fears, they feel strong. When they know your desires, they feel in control. But when you break every pattern they expect, you take away their certainty. And certainty is the oxygen ego breathes. Starve that ego, and you starve its confidence. Most men think being unreadable means being emotionless. It doesn't. It means being disciplined. It means showing only what serves you and hiding everything that doesn't. A raised eyebrow, a well-timed silence, a calm turn of the head. Those become your language. You speak with restraint, not with volume. You reveal nothing you don't want used against you. People don't fear your voice. They fear what your silence suggests. To be unreadable, you must first control your face. A man who reacts with every emotion, anger, irritation, excitement, hands over free information. But a man whose expression stays steady forces others to imagine what he's thinking. And imagination always creates something more intimidating than reality. A still face makes them wonder, does he know something? Is he planning something? Is he offended or amused? Is he angry or indifferent? The uncertainty eats at them. They project their insecurities onto your silence, and in doing so, expose themselves. You remain calm while they unravel under the weight of their own assumptions. Unreadability turns their mind into your battlefield. Then there is your tone, controlled, even, unrushed. You don't raise your voice, because a raised voice is an uncontrolled one. The man who shouts shows he is lost. You keep your tone level, not soft, not warm, just steady. That steadiness forces others to adjust. It forces them to doubt the strength of their own emotions. And doubt is a poison that destroys confidence from the inside. The more they try to decode you, the more tangled they become. Your movements matter just as much. Move slowly. Move intentionally. When you move with precision, people assume purpose. Purpose intimidates. Quick movements suggest anxiety. Slow movements suggest power. When you take your time, lighting a cigarette, choosing your words, stepping forward, they feel the weight of your control. A predictable man is comfortable. An unreadable man is dangerous. And then there's your decisions. You don't announce them before they're made. You don't warn people of what's coming. You let your actions speak. You let the outcome reveal what you were thinking all along. The man who reveals his strategy early hands power to the enemy. The man who reveals nothing forces everyone to react after it's too late. Unreadability gives you time. It gives you options. It gives you control. People will accuse you of being distant. Let them. People will call you mysterious. Good. People will say they never know what's going on inside your head. Perfect. Their confusion is your shield. Their uncertainty is your leverage. Their discomfort is your upper hand. Because unreadability does something else, something more powerful than intimidation. It creates respect, not the kind earned through fear or threats, the kind earned through presence. People respect what they cannot fully understand. They treat it carefully. They step lightly around it. They choose their words more wisely. They give you space, attention, and caution, all without you asking. You don't dominate the room by force. You dominate it by being the only one no one can predict. Understand this. A man who is unreadable becomes unforgettable, not because he demands attention, but because everyone is trying to figure out why he never says. Listen carefully. Mercy is not what you think. Most people give it freely. They think it makes them good. It doesn't. Mercy, when handed without thought, is weakness. You will find that life doesn't reward kindness unless it's calculated. You must understand this. There is power in restraint, power in deciding when someone deserves your attention, your favor, your forgiveness. You don't owe anyone anything. Not loyalty, not gratitude, not a second chance. You decide. You want people to respect you. Then show them that nothing is automatic, that nothing is free, that your silence can speak louder than any promise. You see, Mercy is a weapon if used correctly. It is the illusion you give, the control you keep. Let them think they have leverage, then pull it away when they least expect it. Always timing. Delay. Observe. Measure. Then act. Don't mistake patience for weakness. Most people act too soon. They speak too soon. They speak too soon. They reveal too much. You wait. You let them expose themselves. You let them stumble into the consequences of their own actions. And when you move precisely, deliberately. One step, one word, one decision. That's how control works. That's how you dominate without effort. People fear what they don't understand. Use that. Make them question themselves. Let them wonder what you're thinking. Let them project their expectations onto you, then break those expectations without warning. Do not explain yourself, ever. Explanations are chains. They give away power. Silence is armor. Silence is a blade. Use it. Always. Always. Do not confuse mercy with sentiment. You will meet people who beg, who flatter, who appeal to your conscience. Ignore them. Let them feel the emptiness in your response. Let them wrestle with the uncertainty you create. That uncertainty is control. That control is survival. You are not here to comfort everyone. You are here to measure, decide, and execute. And the moment someone believes your mercy is predictable, they are lost. Understand this. Mercy is selective. It is precise. It is conditional. Only those who deserve it will receive it. And even then, it will come wrapped in consequence. Every action has a price. Every kindness has a weight. You choose who pays, who earns, and who falls. Most people live as if mercy is a right. You live as if mercy is a tool for influence, for observation, for power. Do not apologize for being ruthless. Do not apologize for calculating the cost before you act. People will call it cruelty. They will call it harsh. Let them. They are weak. Weakness needs explanation. Strength does not. You are not here to explain. You are here to command. You are here to control outcomes. And mercy, when wielded like a weapon, is the ultimate command. Remember this. The world responds to those who measure before they act. Those who wait, who strike, who hold back until the right moment. Your restraint is a message. Your silence is a lesson. Your action is the consequence they cannot ignore. Mercy is a mirage because most people believe it is permanent. They believe it is unconditional. You know the truth. Mercy is earned or it is nothing. And nothing is more powerful than nothing given. Do not forget. Do not hesitate. Do not hesitate. Do not misjudge. Every choice you make, every favor you grant, every silence you hold, every consequence you impose, these are the marks of control. These are the marks of power. And power does not bend. Power does not apologize. Power does not surrender. You are not weak. You are deliberate. You are the one who decides. Always. Listen. Influence is not about force. It is not about shouting, threatening, or showing power. Real control is invisible. You shape outcomes without them realizing it. You move people without them knowing they are moved. That is mastery. That is dominance. You are not here to be seen. You are here to be felt. Every word you speak, every look you give, every pause you take, these are your tools. Precision matters. Intent matters. Most people act randomly. You do not. You plan. You calculate. You guide. And they follow unknowingly. That is the advantage of those who understand human nature. You see the patterns. You predict the mistakes. You remain unseen while they reveal themselves. Do not think influence requires permission. It does not. You do not ask. You do not negotiate. You direct subtly. Suggest. Frame their choices so that the path you want them to take feels like their own decision. Let them believe they are in control. That belief is the invisible chain that binds them. Chains they cannot see, but cannot break. Understand this. People surrender power willingly. They crave guidance, certainty, approval. You give them what they want, but on your terms. You never give freely. You condition everything, every favor, every advice, every opportunity. Every step they take is a reflection of your control. Timing is crucial. Move too soon, you expose yourself. Move too late, you lose leverage. You must be patient. Observe. Let them stumble. Let them decide. Then intervene with precision. Every action must be deliberate. Every gesture calculated. You leave nothing to chance. Control is not chaos. Control is architecture. Every move fits into the design you have created. Do not mistake subtlety for weakness. The person who appears gentle, calm, detached, can manipulate more than the one who rages. You will notice this. People underestimate those who do not announce their power. They misread restraint as indecision. That misjudgment is your advantage. Let them underestimate. Let them reveal themselves. Then act. Do not explain. Do not justify. Explanations are chains that weaken your influence. When someone questions you, let silence speak. Let them imagine what they cannot know. The unknown is a tool. The unseen is power. The less they understand, the more control you hold. Confusion is your ally. Curiosity is your weapon. Remember, every suggestion you make, every action you withhold, every expectation you create, these are invisible chains. You are building a network of control that they cannot see. And the most powerful chains are those they believe are not there. They believe they are free. They follow your lead every time without realizing it. Do not underestimate subtlety. The world belongs to those who understand influence without force, to those who guide outcomes silently, to those who measure before they act, to those who are seen but not fully known. You are that person. You hold the invisible chains. You do not bend. You do not yield. You do not apologize. You decide. You guide. You guide. You control. Always listen closely. Fear is not your enemy. It is not something to run from. Fear is a tool, a weapon, a language everyone speaks but few understand. You must understand it, control it, and wield it. Fear guides behavior. Fear shapes decisions. Fear enforces respect. And most people ignore it, mismanage it, or surrender to it. That is their weakness. That is your advantage. Do not confuse fear with terror. Terror is noise, chaos, uncontrolled. Fear is silent, precise, deliberate. It lives in subtlety, a look, a pause, a suggestion, a reputation. Fear does not need to be shouted. It needs only to exist. The mere possibility of consequence is enough. That is how influence works. That is how control works. You must know this. People fear what they do not understand. They fear what they cannot predict. Make yourself unpredictable. Make your actions measured, controlled, but never fully visible. Let them wonder. Let them calculate. Let them question. That uncertainty is power. That uncertainty keeps them in line. That uncertainty ensures they respect the boundaries you set. Do not act out of anger. Do not punish out of impulse. Fear is not chaos. It is deliberate. Every consequence you impose, every standard you enforce, every boundary you maintain must be intentional. People must feel that crossing you carries cost. That cost must be unavoidable, and it must be evident without a word being spoken. Silent authority is stronger than any shouted command. Reputation is fear made permanent. They will watch, judge, and remember. Let them build stories about you. Every rumor, every whisper, every cautious glance they give is confirmation of your power. Do not clarify. Do not deny. Let them interpret. Their fear is fueled by imagination. Let it burn. It is your ally. It is the chain that binds them without a single touch. Do not mistake fear for hatred. Fear does not require love or respect. It requires acknowledgement. It requires boundaries. It requires a presence that cannot be ignored. You do not need approval. You do not need friendship. You need recognition of consequence. That is all. Nothing more. And that is enough. Fear can motivate, manipulate, and control, but it must be balanced. Too much, and people rebel. Too little, and they forget. Measure. Adjust. Adjust. Always maintain the tension. Keep them aware of your capacity without showing your limits. Always. No exceptions. You are not here to intimidate the weak. You are here to shape the strong, guide the reckless, and control the outcome before it unfolds. Let them down. Let them hesitate. Let them calculate. That is when your influence becomes invisible, but undeniable. That is when fear becomes respect. That is when power becomes absolute. Remember this. Fear is a tool, but mastery of it is art. You hold the brush. You decide the lines. You determine the intensity. You dictate the reaction. People respond, comply, obey, not because you demand it, but because you make them understand, silently, that resistance is futile. That is the philosophy of fear. That is control. That is power. That is you. Listen to me. Your actions do not exist in isolation. Every choice, every decision, every moment of control you exercise leaves a mark. People notice, even when they pretend not to. They remember, even when they deny it. Your influence does not end with your presence. It spreads, silently, shaping outcomes, guiding behavior, and leaving a legacy that cannot be ignored. That is the difference between ordinary and exceptional. That is the difference between being noticed and being feared. You are not here for recognition. You are here for impact. Your legacy is not written in words or applause. It is written in obedience, respect, and consequence. People feel it. They do not need to understand it. They follow it whether they realize it or not. That is the mark of true power. That is the mark of a mind that sees beyond the moment. Do not waste time trying to be liked. That is weakness. Do not seek validation. That is surrender. You do not need approval. You need influence. You need control. You need to shape what others cannot see, to guide what others cannot predict, to decide what others cannot comprehend. Legacy is built in silence, in observation, in precision. Every calculated action strengthens it. Every unnecessary word weakens it. You will encounter people who underestimate you. Let them. They will make assumptions, they will misread you, they will challenge your authority. Good. Let them reveal themselves. Every miscalculation they make is an opportunity. Every hesitation they show is a lesson. You do not need to intervene immediately. You wait. You calculate. You act only when it guarantees maximum impact. That is how influence survives time. Understand this. Teaching without words is the ultimate method. Lead by example. Let people experience your methods, your decisions, your restraint, your ruthlessness. Let them feel the consequences of crossing you, the rewards of aligning with you. Let them see the invisible chains you hold. That is how minds are shaped. That is how futures are directed. That is how a savage philosopher ensures his philosophy survives beyond the immediate moment. Do not fear absence. Absence amplifies presence. People remember those who are not always visible. Your silence, your distance, your unpredictability, all of it contributes to the perception of power. Let them wonder. Let them anticipate. Let them calculate. That is the control no one sees but everyone feels. That is influence that outlasts presence. That is legacy. Do not confuse cruelty with strategy. Your decisions are deliberate. Your actions are measured. Your outcomes are inevitable. People will call you ruthless. Let them. Words cannot diminish power. Reputation cannot bind it. Legacy is not dependent on opinion. It is dependent on effect. The impression you leave, the respect you command, the fear you instill, these endure long after explanations fade. Remember this, the savage philosopher does not exist for comfort. He exists for understanding, for influence, for control. His legacy is not in what he says, but in what he shapes. Not in what he gives, but in what he allows. Not in what he follows, but in what he directs. That is your reality. That is your power. That is your mark upon the world. You decide what remains. You decide what is remembered. You decide who follows and who falters. Your presence is a lesson. Your silence is a teacher. Your action is a verdict. And those who learn from it, who adapt, who survive, they carry your philosophy forward. Those who ignore it, they pay the consequences. That is the legacy of mastery. That is the legacy of control. That is your legacy. Always. Remember this, the world bends to those who measure before they act. Control is not given. Power is not granted. Influence is earned silently through observation, calculation, and precision. Mercy is conditional, fear is deliberate, and patience is the weapon of the wise. You do not rush. You do not explain. You decide. Every action, every silence, every consequence is yours to command. The world will notice, even if they pretend not to. You leave your mark not in words, but in results. You are deliberate. You are relentless. You are Thomas Shelby. Always.